we always knew, of course, that Ant-Man and the Wasp was going to follow Infinity War, and we also all knew how Infinity War was going to end. By design, our movie is more standalone, but we knew at some point we were going to have to deal with where we fit into the timeline and how we were going to address the events of Infinity War. But we didn't know for quite some time how we were going to do it. I mean, we talked early on about, in the screenwriting process, we're going to be telling our story about the rescue of Janet Van Dyne and telling the story of Hank and Hope and Scott. Maybe we start to introduce things and monitors in the background, in various scenes. Oh, this is going on elsewhere in the world. And that felt kind of lazy to us, and we'd seen versions of that before. And it also didn't feel tonally like the Ant-Man tone that we'd established in the first movie. So after talking about it constantly and trying to figure it out, we landed on this structure that really appealed to us and really felt like our movie's version of how to deal with that, which was really tell our story, and have everything resolve in the body of our movie. Scott's off house arrest. Their ex-con company they've been trying to get off the ground, they finally land the client. Scott is reunited with Cassie. Janet is back. Everything tied up in an almost too neat bow. So it's, everything is perfectly resolved at the end of the movie. Roll main on end credits, which are fun and colorful, and then bang, here comes our mid-credit tag. So there were many discussions about how we were going to get to that point and also who was going to be involved in it. There were discussions about, in the finished version, it's Scott, Hank, Hope, and Janet. And at one point we talked about, is Bill Foster there? Is Ava Starr there? Like, who's going to be there? A certain part of that was dictated by just the sheer percentages of the Thanos plan. There's this 50% thing, which we felt like we could only fudge so much. But then it was really about, tonally, we knew whoever it was that it would have impact on our movie because we'd really delivered this nice, fun, lighter than Infinity War romp and everything, happily ever after, and then whang, pull the carpet out from under the audience. We knew it would get a reaction. There's some machinery on what appears to be a parking deck, so where are they? And there's Janet, and oh, she's in street clothes. That's weird and different, I haven't seen that. And there's Hank, and wait, Luis's van is there, and that's like a shrunken quantum tunnel in the back of the van. Scott's in the Ant-Man suit, and now Hope is handing him this particle thing and explaining quantum healing particles, and he's gonna go back, and what are they doing? So it really was trying to keep the audience off balance about what the mission at hand in our movie was, so that hopefully, even though subliminally I know a huge portion of the audience is expecting something to happen vis-a-vis Infinity War, we wanted to try and keep them as off balance as possible. Obviously, he was in a similar dilemma at one point in the first Ant-Man, caught in the void and sort of figured out a way, oh, I've got a couple of grow particles, and, kludged together this solution that, lo and behold, happened to work. But this time, he's in a new Ant-Man suit that we've seen in the body of the movie has malfunctioned somewhat, and we don't really sort of let on whether they actually address those issues with the suit or not. And he's in a different sort of part of the quantum realm, which has got a very different visual sort of area of the quantum realm. So he's in a real pickle. I mean, there's no question about it. And that was really fun to sort of leave on a cliffhanger and certainly talk with Marcus and McFeely and everybody about how, what becomes of Scott Lang. In the case of our tag, because we were shooting concurrent with Infinity War and Avengers 4, everybody was really in sync about what we were doing. There were conversations that happened, between obviously Kevin and the Russos and myself and Marcus and McFeely, who write those movies. So there was a larger plan in place that we were a part of. So we certainly, in our discussions, kind of talked in our movie about who it was going to happen, who we were going to see it happen to versus who we weren't going to see it happen to. And then also with the particulars of what was going to become of Scott. And also, it made dramatic sense to us that in a movie whose spine is really about this partnership between Ant-Man and Wasp and this rescue of Janet Van Dyne, that we sort of separate Ant-Man and Wasp at the end of that thing. Just dramatically, it felt right and felt like a great sort of cliffhanger to end on. I will say everything you need to know thus far, you know. And all the rest is mystery, and deliberately so. But it is something that there is a plan in place, and there is, there are going to be very specific consequences for specific people in, obviously, the larger universe, but in the Ant-Man universe.